I
And why is it always a white blonde woman who seems to find issue whenever I want to express my love for black people? Ma'am? Like, since the beginning of time, why do we insist on having to be included in every single thing? Can a bitch have a preference? Sometimes I just want to see black women. Sometimes I just want to see Latino women. Sometimes I just want to see Asian women. Sometimes I just want to see Indian women. Sometimes I don't want to see white bitches everywhere I look. Is that okay? I grew up in a predominantly white area. I have to look in the mirror every day. I'm bored of vanilla. But somehow, in the midst of the rise of fascism and white supremacy at an alarming and disgusting rate, I'm a jerk off for saying I love you and I would do anything for someone who is not the same abhorrent, pasty skin color that I am. And you are trying to make a moment of it because.
Welcome to White Folks School 2.0, where white folks literally school themselves. And guys, honestly, this is an interesting video because when I actually saw the first clip of this lady trying to tell white people to mind their damn fucking business, I was so excited. I keep saying it, right? It is not every single white person that have the guts, the audacity, the effrontery, the tree, Mary tree to come talk to their fellow white folks. In fact, a lot of them stop talking to their fellow white folks about black folks because of how they usually react. I've seen a lot of videos where white folks literally tell you that because my fellow white folks saw me with black people or they always see me in black people's association, they are now hating on me a lot, a lot, a lot. So when I see schooling, I love it. I love to pass out information so that a lot of them can literally be schooled. But first of all, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credit belongs to the original creator of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And yes, with that being said, let's go ahead. Let me roll out the clip for you guys, and I will be back with commentaries. Remember, this is for educational purpose. Let's get it started.
Y'all know I grew up in the South, and I spent a lot of time in Memphis, and we bought a old farmhouse on the outskirts of Memphis, and I decided to open a coffee shop in that little town. And let me tell you, this might be a few-parter, I don't know. So the town where we moved to is about 800 people, and of that, the population was 85% black. I never thought it was an issue. In fact, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed living in a town like that. So I decided I was going to open a coffee shop on the little town square. And it was right next to a black barber shop. And across the street, there was a tattoo shop that was also a black shop. So I opened my coffee shop, and the first thing I did when coming into that neighborhood was I went to all the shops around me, and I brought them cookies and cinnamon rolls and things I was going to be baking at my cafe. So I remember going to the barbershop for the first time, and they looked at me like I had three heads. And I said, hey, y'all, I had been in California for 20 years, 30 years at this time. So I came back, I'm like, I'm from California. I'm opening this coffee shop here. Here are some of my baked goods. And we became friends, really good friends, to where I was hosting, like NAACP book signings in my coffee shop. My staff was entirely mixed. There was every person there that worked. It was always the white people who came into my business and asked me, is this a white or a black business? Now, having lived in California for 20 years and having not spent so much time in that part of the South, I didn't understand. So I didn't understand that they were labeling me because I was friendly to the black businesses. I ended up with a brick through my window. I ended up being threatened with a cross burning on my lawn. I had a cop threaten to shoot me because I was a race traitor. They even called me a carpetbagger. So anyways, the business did not work out financially, feasibly. The community was not supporting it. So years go by, I closed the coffee shop, and there is a racist incident at my daughter's school. These boys were threatening of a group chat to lynch, yes, lynch, a black boy because he was dating a little white girl. So at their school, their principal made the white boys write a 10-page essay because they were baseball players and they were from a good family. So it sparked a sit-in. It sparked a protest. Now, when my daughter called me and said, Mom, we're going to participate in the sit-in, I rushed down there with pizzas and food and water and was ready to sit there and make sure these kids had what they need. Now, tell me, y'all, when I got there, why was I the only white mom there? I was the only white person. Me and my daughter were the only white people there. I've never been so embarrassed, and I actually got on the news. I opened my big mouth and yelled about how ashamed I was that I was the only white person there and that all parents should be coming out for this. The white community did not like that. That's when I got the threaten the cross burning on my lawn. But after that protest, after we had been supporting the kids and talking on the news and talking to BuzzFeed and talking all this stuff, there was a gathering at the black church after the protest. Now, by this time my husband had come down because I told him, like, hey, we need more white people here. And there was another white friend of mine who actually, she was there from the beginning, Hayden. So anyways, everyone walks over to the black church. And as we're walking into the black church, a big man stepped up to bar the entrance of my husband and I because we're white. And Mookie, my friend from the barbershop, came out and said, nah, they one of us. And so we came in and we heard the plans and we were helping implement the plans as far where to go from here. Now, you'll notice one of my pinned posts is my daughter standing up for the kids and asking the tough questions. So what came out of this, the principal was fired, although he was moved to the county over and rehired. The superintendent, the one who sounds like Mr. Garrison in South Park in that clip, nothing ever happened to him. The boys eventually did get suspended, but they were allowed to play on baseball. So, not a lot happened. But what happened was I saw who the community really was and who is holding the community up. This county is a majority black county. The city is a majority black city. And at the time, it was still run by a few white people. When I left, a black mayor had taken over, and there were more black people involved in the business side of that small town. But what I know is that once Mookie opened that door and said, nah, they one of us, I knew I was. And so this movement doesn't surprise me as much as it surprises other black people, just because where I come from, where my family from, who was my family in that town as a carpetbagger who came from California, who was not accepted by the white people because I was not from there. The black community accepted me. All my tattoos are done by a black artist. And I don't know what my point to this is. Just that I wanted to talk about it. It's hard to talk about in white circles because they look at me like I'm crazy. And they're like, what were you doing?
People worry about me doing this work, but that's kind of why it needs to be done. White people have always been at risk for helping people of color, but think about what that means. That means that people of color are at risk all the time. That fear of what might be done to us is part of what keeps us quiet, even if we mentally support reducing racism and white supremacy. But silence is a luxury of privilege. Black people can't check out. We can, and we do, because it's easy and natural. I'm a behavior analyst. That is how human behavior works. It's how behavior works for all of us animals. We check out of the things that are difficult. We are in a powerful position as white people, however, to support our POC brothers and sisters. Our privilege can be used as currency. From the Underground Railroad to today's social media, white people who step up against racism have always paid a price. Ostracism, job loss, sometimes our lives. Yeah, there's risk in speaking up, but that's part of the privilege we have, to choose whether or not to face it. Because it will take us white people standing up and committing to this work to change the white supremacist foundation this country was built on. During slavery, white abolitionists who participated in the Underground Railroad risked imprisonment or death. After the Civil War, carpetbaggers and scalawags tried to rebuild a multiracial democracy, and the Klan hunted them down. Arkansas Congressman James Hines was assassinated for supporting Black rights. And in the 1960s, people like James Reeb, Viola Liuzzo, and Jonathan Daniels were murdered for standing with Black activists. My friend, Dwight Brown, who is now deceased, was with these people. He literally shared a bed with James Reeb the night before the march in Selma that led to James Reeb's death. Today, that danger still shows up, different form, but the same energy. White people who speak up online get harassed, doxxed, blacklisted. Some lose friends, jobs, even family. But remember this: Black people don't get to log off from racism. If we're tired of backlash, imagine how exhausted to the bone they are from the whole system that they have to live in. We can't let comfort be the reason we don't do our part. Our privilege is the cushion that lets us keep showing up. Let's use it. I'm not an expert, just an avid learner. The references for this post are in the video description. You can plug my username into a search engine to find me if my account here ever goes away. Check the link in my bio to help me out. And most of all, get curious.
Public service announcement to all Black women. The reason why white women stare at you when we're in public is because we're admiring you. We think that you're beautiful. We think your hair is pretty. We think you wear your clothes cool. We think your skin is really beautiful. So that's why we're staring. Nothing else. I know some white women like to get in your business. But some of us, if you catch us staring, that's why. We think you're stunning. Have a beautiful day. Announcement to all.
So finally, at least somebody was honest. I respect this white woman that came up and said, we stare at Black women because we think you're beautiful. But she did say in her comments that she can recognize that that is not always the case, because y'all don't always just only stare at us. Sometimes y'all glare at us with pure venom, hate, jealousy, and envy. So at least we can agree that sometimes it's admiration. And I always tell y'all that love and hate lives on the same spectrum. Sometimes they love you so much that they start to hate you. It brews into hate, jealousy, and resentment, envy. We always talk about these things. But it's not always because of admiration. Sometimes it literally just be jealousy and obsession. That's what it be. But at least she, you know, she's keeping it real from her perspective. What y'all think about this? But why do they be up in our business though? Like, okay, I get it. You're staring because you admire us. You think we're beautiful. You like our skin. Some of us, you like our hair, whatever. But why do you feel compelled to accost us, come up in our business, try to touch us, ask us questions? What is that part about? Because everybody keeps saying they have Black fatigue. Once again, white people cannot have Black fatigue. Black people have Black fatigue. But they keep saying they're tired of Black people. We don't bother y'all.
We do not, boy, I don't know any black person that just goes up to random fucking white people saying anything to them. As a collective, we don't do that. We do not give a fuck about what y'all got going on for the most part. Sprella is the Brooklyn way. What y'all think? Is it just admiration?
Black folks are some of the most empathetic people I've ever met. This year, there was this whole thing that popped off on a corner of TikTok where a group of black folks decided that gingers, redheads, were an honorary member of the black community. It sparked this beautiful exchange of the deepest empathy I've ever heard expressed ever for the redhead experience that most people don't really think about or care about. Redheads tend to get really bullied for no reason by other white people. It's some kind of branch off of this racist, colorist, I'm gonna judge you and treat you differently based on your aesthetic and not based on your personality or your merit. It's part of this just like desire for violence sake and having a hierarchy, and you're lower on the totem pole just cause. And maybe secretly it's because people are like, that's kind of cool, but I don't have that and I'm jealous, so let me just make it a bad thing. Just like how many people who are pretty racist also consume sports and music and all sorts of things that are created by black folks. They secretly love and admire it while also feeling threatened by it because they know they can't be it. But my experience interfacing in the black community is truly this concept of do unto others as you would want done unto you. Love your neighbor as yourself. The love I have received and felt from the black community is like nothing I've ever felt in my entire life. When I've matched that energy, when I've met them on that level of empathy and connection and respect, it gets deeper. The well of empathy and connection is profound. It's, again, deeper than anything I've ever experienced in any other community. And I think most white folks miss out on this because of all of this division and hate. We are taught from a young age to be divided, to mistrust each other. And white folks are indoctrinated to hate and fear black folks so that we can justify their treatment. It's easier to treat someone poorly if they're the enemy or if you feel like you're somehow victimized by them. I've never truly been victimized by black folks. Yes, there have been isolated moments of violence and crime and whatever, and the media runs with that as propaganda to keep pushing this race war. And I find it interesting that people like CK clearly had deep disdain for black people and empathy. To me, those things go hand in hand. And even though that whole situation was a white on white crime, even a conservative on conservative crime, they've managed to blame it on black folks who had nothing to do with it. And now there are these lynchings of black men. They're blamed for things they are not involved in at all. And this has been the story of America. Every toxic family needs a scapegoat, that black sheep, oftentimes that spiritually awake person that sees what's not right and what's not just and points it out, or is doing all this emotional labor and physical labor trying to keep the peace and make things work. It's exhausting. And at a certain point, they know they gotta just get me out of this family and let me go do my own thing and create boundaries because all y'all do is hurt me. You've experienced that with your family and you've had to like cut off from people for being so toxic. Either join them in the family abuse and the cycles of violence, or you get free from it. You get really choosy about who you allow in and who's in your circle to keep yourself safe. That's why everyone's not invited to the cookout. We're not inviting backstabbers into our homes. All people who are burned learn over time to be selective with where you put your energy. You learn to notice exploitation and manipulation and people who are not on your side. This is true. If you identify as an empath, regardless of what race you are, if you've experienced narcissistic abuse, once you wake up to it and you learn to set boundaries and you learn to sniff it and spot it a mile away, you start moving differently, don't you? You're still that same loving person that you've always been. That is still your core essence. But you're not giving that to just everyone necessarily, especially if they're giving off a red flag vibe. So when I hear in white circles, people say, I don't know, every time I've interacted with black people, they're rude. I'm like, are they? Or are they responding to your energy? Are they mirroring? So if you're watching this and you're white and you don't have any black friends, you need to do deeper work, because the more you do the work, the more that you're vocal about it, the more all of a sudden you will have black friends coming out ready to ride for you. So long as you show that you're going to ride for them back legitimately and not poof when times get hard. That's that empathy with action. It's time for us to move differently. It's time for us to be better.
Hey, Cracker. Listen, I know nuance is dead with you type of whiteys, but are you aware that all crime is racial? In that people commit crimes against their own race more than anybody else. The number one human unaliver of white people is white people. But please explain to me how, as white people, with all of the social and political and financial and historical advantages that you wrongfully have, still manage to do this to each other. You are not marginalized, you are not over-policed, you are not marginalized in any way, born with privileges that you did not earn simply because you were white. And yet, despite that, 6 times a day, a cracker unalives a cracker. But you are going to focus on the most beat down and opportunity robbed people in the history of the United States. Expose yourself, dude.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching and thank you so much for coming back, because that's a woman that literally broke down everything, every single thing that needed to be said. Let's start from the one that said a lot of black people, a lot of white people need to come get that particular cream of mind your own fucking business, because at the end of the day, these people literally do not mind their business. That's just the truth. I've brought out videos countless time on the streets where you literally see these people telling black people that is not your walkway. You shouldn't be walking in that area. What you're supposed to be doing is to doing this. What? It's just a whole lot. Following them around in shops, stores, name it. And I've done a lot of research, countless time, wanting to know why this keep repeating. And I found out that this is actually a generational thing. This is not just what is happening now. That is what has been invoked right from time, even before the Europeans, the slavery, blah blah blah. Why people just want to be in charge? Why people just want it to make just want to make it look as if without them black people cannot exist? Why people just want to be in that level where they want to be given authority? In fact, as at this point of their life, they want every single black person to be succumbing, falling to every single thing that they literally have to say or they literally have to do. In fact, the only thing they want we black to be doing is to be answering yes ma, yes sir, in whatsoever thing they do. But the black people on the other hand, which is the melanin popping skin that will never give up on themselves, keep saying no. And I love that. I love that. We keep telling them that you cannot just come look down on me. You cannot just come and make me just succumb. You cannot just come and make me just accept every single thing you say. It's not going to work. So I saw these clips and I saw that a lot of white folks were literally educating themselves. They were literally sharing their experience, how some of them were rejected just because they are friends with black people, just because they find themselves in black people's community, just because they speak and they have to say this thing you're doing is not right, this thing you're doing is not making sense, change your way as a white person, blah blah blah. They became their enemy for no reason. And that is why I keep saying it. We will not keep quiet. We have to keep lecturing them. We have to keep making them see reasons that you cannot just come control us. You cannot just come tell us what to do. You cannot just come and want all of us to be under you. We still have something to say. In fact, we should be the one ruling, because at the end of the day, there were black Americans in America even before the arrival of the Europeans, even before slavery begins and East West and so if there is anybody that should be controlling in America, it should be the indigenous black American, the foundational black Americans. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So, but these are what we go through on daily basis. Kerans, east, west, north, and south. We can't even explain it. But I'm happy that at least we have, even if it's just 1% of some white folks that have sense, that literally are ready to educate their fellow white folks. And I believe gradually, some will learn, some will still not learn, but we will not stop talking. I've said this. I will not stop talking. I will not stop advocating for my black people. I will not. If you want me to stop, I don't think I'm going to stop any moment from now. Anyways, just let me know what you think in the comment section about every single thing. Credit belongs to original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And if you haven't subscribed, please do what subscribe, like this video, drop me your comments, and lastly, do not forget to share. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And yes, thank you so much for staying stick and hook me to the end of this video. With that being said, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos. I'm going to be saying, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.